Before we move into the information session, we would like to begin with a land acknowledgement. Western University is situated on the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, the Lenapehouk, and the Chuanadon nations, on lands connected with the London Township and Sombra Treaties of 1796 and Dish with One Spoon Covenant Wampum. At Western, we acknowledge the ongoing injustices faced by Indigenous peoples in Canada, and we accept our responsibility as a public institution to help correct miseducation and foster respectful relationships through teaching, research, and community engagement. The professional programs you are here to explore today are actively taking steps to carry out this vision, including supporting pathways to increase Indigenous enrollment and foster more equitable opportunities within our programs. Through these efforts, we aim to build a learning community where reconciliation moves from intention to meaningful action. So without further ado, we will move into the audiology and speech-language pathology information session, starting with our program preview day video. So now I'd like to introduce the Communication Sciences and Disorders Director, Dr. Lisa Archibald, who will lead us through the school's presentation today.
So the School of Communication Sciences and Disorders operates two professional master's programs in audiology and speech-language pathology. Let me speak briefly about those professions. So audiologists evaluate normal and impaired hearing abilities. They assess the communicative functions of persons with hearing impairments. They help with the prevention of hearing loss. They consult with industry and government regarding ways to minimize the impact of noise on hearing. And they plan and carry out rehabilitation programs for individuals with hearing problems. They prescribe and fit assistive listening devices. They train individuals in terms of speech or lip reading and other communication strategies. And they counsel individuals and families on how to cope with hearing loss. Here at the school, we're fortunate to be associated with the National Center for Audiology. It's a special feature of our school, of our Faculty of Health Sciences, and an important relationship for us with the school. The National Center for Audiology is the major research center for audiology in Canada and indeed internationally. The NCA is a well-equipped and modern research facility that is located here in our same building as the programs in Elburn College, and that provides us with unique learning and research opportunities for our students. Speech-language pathologists assess and treat a broad range of speech, language, voice, resonance, swallowing, and cognitive communication disorders, and a non-exhaustive list of those are here on this slide. Within the school, we have the H.A. Leeper Speech and Hearing Clinic, and that's a particularly unique feature of the school. In that clinic, we provide high-quality speech, language, hearing, balance, voice, resonance, and cognitive communicative services to individuals with a wide range of communication problems and their families right here within the community of London. And in doing that, our students are involved in clinical education experiences right from the time that they begin their programs in audiology or speech-language pathology. And that's a particularly unique feature of our school. The clinic also allows us to support research in the area of communication disorders with people who are coming into the clinic. There have been some admission changes this year, so just want to speak to those. Our current minimum sub GPA needed to be eligible for the program is 3.4. And so just to note that, but also to note that because you have 3.4 doesn't mean that you'll be guaranteed admission. Each applicant pool is a competition for the seats that we have available. Also, for Indigenous applicants, we're looking for to have a GPA at 3.0. We've had a change in our prerequisites for both our audiology and speech language pathology program this year. And I know some of you will have been working towards admission to the program for the last couple of years. And we want to honor that. We'll be accepting our old prerequisites for a 2-year window of 2026 and 27 and 27, 28. But we will also accept in those same years our new prerequisites as well. So we will accept prerequisites consistent with our prior and our current prerequisites for these two cycles. You need to confirm if the prerequisites you have are are approved for our application. And there's two ways you can do that. We've posted a list on our website of courses that we know across universities in Canada that are approved for acceptable prerequisites. And if you find your course there, then you can go ahead and submit it. If it's not on that list, then we'll ask you to get approval for that course in advance of your application, and you can do that using the prerequisite course approval form on our website. Starting this particular cycle, starting right now, and for all applicants, we're requiring the Casper test as part of your application, and I'll speak about that in a moment. I'll also speak later on about our requirements regarding Casper for international students. And a CV is required for all participants. So I'll speak now to the audiology prerequisites. On your left side is the old prerequisites, and they'll be accepted in this cycle and one more cycle after that. And they're to have a half-year in course in developmental psychology or normal lifespan development, a half-year course in statistics, at least one half-year course in human anatomy or physiology, and at least one half-year course in social science and psychology. So that you can apply with those, but you can also apply with our new prerequisite set, which you'll see on the right, which include a half-year course of developmental psychology or normal lifespan development, a half-year course in statistics, one full-year course in human anatomy or human physiology, a half-year course in phonetics, and a half-year course in general linguistics. This new prerequisite set now makes alignment between our two programs, audiology and speech language pathology. The new prerequisite set is now the same for both programs. We do recommend for audiology in particular, though, that you have at least one course in mathematics, physics, or engineering science. And we do want you to take that quite seriously because we know that students in our program need that kind of background to manage in our program. And so I'll speak briefly to our speech language pathology prerequisites now, and the old prerequisites set on your left, which included a half-year course in developmental psychology or child development that had a study of normal language development, a half-year course in general linguistics that included phonetics, a half-year course in statistics, a half-year course in human anatomy or physiology, half-year course in life or general science, and a half-year course in social science and psychology. So that's the old set, and we will accept that this year and next year. And then our new prerequisite set is a half-year course in developmental psych and child language, a half-year course in general linguistics, a half-year course in statistics, a full-year course in human anatomy or physiology, and a half-year course in phonetics. And once again, that's now aligned across the two programs, the same set for audiology and speech language pathology. And if you want to know more about our prerequisite requirements, go to our website where we'll be providing the most up-to-date information. So the Casper test, and I mentioned that that's a new requirement for the program. The Casper is an online open resource, open response situational judgment test. It takes about 65 to 85 minutes to complete. The Casper measures different personal and professional skills that the school believes are important for successful students and graduates to our program. And it'll complement the other tools we use for our applicant review and evaluation, and it will allow us to do a more holistic assessment of each applicant. The test dates range. They're available. A variety of test dates are available up to in time for our application deadline in January. So please go to the Acuity Insights website to reserve your Casper test form. You can find information on how to register for the Casper test on that website and on our website as well. I want to talk briefly about pre-placement requirements as part of the degree that you would complete in our program. Students participate in clinical placements. The clinical settings our students are going to include our own clinic, hospitals, schools, treatment centers, private practice locations, and specialized clinics. And there's a number of pre-placement requirements, and they're all outlined in the offer letter when you are offered a spot to our program. So you need to review that checklist in detail. There are mandatory medical and non-medical requirements. And in signing the offer letter, you're agreeing to complete those requirements. It's important that once you have accepted the offer, you start working on those requirements immediately. Some of them have lengthy processing times and some have associated costs. And so you really need to get started on those right away to be ready for your program entry in September. And all of those requirements and costs will be indicated in the offer letter that you receive. It's important that you not reach out to sites or universities about clinical or fieldwork placements. We have a process of recruiting sites and allocating students to placements. And so it's important that students are making those contacts themselves. We take that very seriously, and we explain this during our orientation. If you have questions about placements here within our programs, you can refer to our clinical placement offices site on the Faculty of Health Sciences website. So you can find more information and updates about our program on our website or by contacting Samantha Albanese, our graduate affairs assistant, and the email there is earmouth@uwo.ca, and then phone number is also there on this slide. The program requires applications through ORPAS for all domestic students, and the application must include a one-page, well-written personal statement, 2 well-chosen academic references, and 1 professional reference, the pre-approved prerequisites that I've described, a CV, a curriculum vitae or resume, as well as the transcripts to see your academic grades, and you can include other items like volunteer history or awards, etc., as part of your application package. We often get asked how to strengthen applications. Some ways that students or applicants do this is through obtaining diverse volunteering experiences, becoming involved in research, and highlighting what distinguishes you from other applicants. This year, our deadline to apply is January 6th, 2026 at 11:59 p.m. And I'll speak briefly to our international applications and applicants. There are 2 ways that international applicants can submit their applications. One is to follow the ORPAS system that I've just gone through, and the second is through a direct system through our own School of Graduate and Postdoctoral Studies here at Western. We do highly encourage you to use that latter path, our own Western University School of Graduate and Postdoctoral Studies portal for applying. That lets us begin to look at your application right away and allows acceptances on a rolling basis. In terms of requirements for international applicants, all of the standard admission requirements for speech language pathology and audiology that I've already gone through are required. Transcripts from outside of Canada or the United States must be evaluated for equivalency by the World Education Services. Both then the original transcript and that evaluation must be submitted. I mentioned the completed Casper test, and that's a requirement. If, as an international applicant, you would like to request an interview instead of completing the Casper, you can reach out to our email to arrange this. And any applicants who did not complete their entire undergraduate degree in an English-speaking institution or in a country with English as an official language must submit proof of English language proficiency. And there are a number of tests that we have in our lists that we accept, and the scores there are specified. As I mentioned, the ORPAS deadline is January 6, 2026. And that direct stream portal here at Western through our School of Graduate and Postdoctoral Studies, that deadline is February 6th, 2026. And again, that's a direct stream and allows for rolling basis. And we do highly encourage you to submit through that portal. We also very much encourage applications by mid-December because there is a number of a lot of work that needs to happen in terms of processing times for visas, etc. There's lots of information on our website, and we have John here today who could answer questions, and his email is there at the bottom of the slide.
Okay, so hello and welcome to those of you just joining us, as well as our existing participants, to the Occupational Therapy Information Session for Program Preview Day.
Welcome, everyone. As Jessica said, my name is Lynn Shaw. I'm the director of the School of Occupational Therapy, and I'm an occupational therapist and have been for 41 years. It's my pleasure to bring you this presentation today, and I got lots of help with some of the questions that you'll have later on in the session. So the School of Occupational Therapy, as in the video, was identified. We are at Alberta College. So I want to just start with what is occupational therapy, and it is a very dynamic, internationally recognized health profession. And our main primary concern is enabling people to do the things that they want to do to enable occupation. We want to do this so that we can promote health and well-being, social inclusion, and social justice. And this means that this happens at the level of individuals, families, communities, and at societal levels, where we're all concerned with enabling people to do the things that are important to them. In the School of Occupational Therapy, we have 4 research pillars, and they guide us not only in our research, but our teaching and service. And so 4 areas that we're known for are optimizing health and well-being, to build diverse and inclusive communities, advance social and occupational justice, and to evolve OT practice and education. So those are 4 areas of pillars that we are known for. So our curriculum is based on a sort of, this is a camera shot. So it looks like a lens with different areas. So we really are focused on educating people towards the ultimate goal of harnessing the transformative power of occupation. And you see here that within our curriculum, we have a number of areas that we focus in on, the curriculum is built on. So there's 5 areas, and those are in the green, the yellow, the orange, the red, and the blue. And then how we do that and how we move you through the curriculum in our program is through a variety of different types of ways of learning. One of them is experiential learning, which you'll hear more about, and that involves some stuff in class, but a lot of our fieldwork placements. Reflective learning, so we teach you how to do the skills that an occupational therapist will do in practice, and reflection is a big part, but part of what you will do is actually mirror that in education and learn through that. So transformative learning, where we'll push you in terms of some of the boundaries of your current thinking and using critical perspectives to think about different ways of practicing and learning. Relational learning, we are an in-person program. And the whole point of this program is to enable you to be able to interact and relate to people and to relate to each other. So a lot of the work that we do is in groups with each other, learning how to collaborate, and with our interprofessional colleagues as well in communication sciences disorders, in physiotherapy, in food and nutrition sciences, and probably more than that. But those are some of the areas. One thing that is critical for the learning in occupational therapy is that we are an occupation-based centric program. And so we are helping you learn through occupation-based inquiry, thinking about the core and what it means to be engaged in occupation and using that occupation first lens with regards to your learning. So our curriculum is really well organized and orchestrated to enable you to learn through these areas. And to get you thinking, if you're interested, is what are occupations? Historically, in the profession of occupational therapy, we have grouped them into 3 areas. That does not mean those are the only areas of occupations, but for today, for presentation, just to give you a sense that there are many kinds of occupations. So the general caring for self and others, you can see them there. They could be anything from individual things you do in your morning or evening routines to driving a car to taking medication. So these are the things that you do in normal routines. In terms of the areas of productivity, this could mean learning. So when you're learning, that's your occupation. It could mean what the things that you do for productive employment or volunteerism. It could be homemaking. It could be very specific kinds of things that you do to contribute in a way to either your learning or to contribute to society through the engagement of occupations. And the last one that we just highlight today is leisure. And this groups things like your social activities, your community activities, your sports activities, and things that you do that are for joy and pleasure and stretching and growth. So those are just an idea of what occupations can be, but not the limitations at all in terms of thinking about what occupation is all about. If you think about practice and areas of practice in occupational therapy, this diagram shows many areas on the branches of the tree that really support different areas of practice. You may have heard some of these before, such as mental health practice or working with persons with physical disabilities or cognitive disabilities. Looking at working in aging, which is sometimes called gerontology. So there's a variety of areas, return to work being others, home and community health, looking at transitions from hospital to home and supporting people. So there's a lot of broad practice areas, and they're growing as we speak. And then you see some of the things and the roots at the bottom in terms of thinking about, what are the different strategies that are used, adaptation, restorative, client-centered, using therapeutic occupation, using therapeutic sense of self, engagement in occupation. So these are the kinds of things that support those areas of practice. So, and again, this is an overview, a visual depiction of what that looks like. In the School of Occupational Therapy, we have a number of important values, and these guide how we interact with each other, what we do and what we expect, and how we make decisions. And so these values will guide you in the program. Foundational is collaboration. If we're a relational practice and we're working with people, collaboration is something that we value highly. We value growth and well-being, that we're here to experience challenges and work through things so that we can grow as individuals. Knowledge, that we value knowledge and different ways of knowing and collective ways of knowing in different perspectives. So all knowledges are valued. Responsibility and accountability is a value. We're here, we have a timeline. We're going to support you through this program, but we have a responsibility to each other and to learning. Diversity is valued in terms of looking at what is represented and who is represented, and making sure that we uphold diversity as a value not only for us as faculty and staff and students working together, but also for our profession. And then equity. We certainly want to work towards equity in all we do, to think about removal of injustices. So we value equity as the ultimate thing that we're working towards. But first, certainly we want to address those social and life and health inequities that exist out there. And that's part of what we value and how we operate. Coming to occupational therapy at Western is really unique. We have a fabulous program, and you'll hear that from others. And, each program is is really good in terms of occupational therapy, but ours is unique, and we pride ourselves with having these elements of our program that students have come to learn and know and enjoy. So certainly we're focused on equity, social change, social justice, moving that forward, social inclusion. So that's a critical foci, and it's a really big area for occupational therapy right now, and the competencies that you need to develop to grow to enter into practice. We have a mentorship program that is outstanding, and that's where you're going to get to work in a group with a clinical occupational therapist for 2 years over the journey of your time with us. And that's where you get to explore details of practice in a safe environment, and working in a group with your peers. We offer simulation as a means to develop your clinical skills and your first placement, so that you can go with confidence into your level 2 placements. So simulation is critical, and working with patient partners to develop some of those skills. And then we have really fabulous projects with community partners, where in your second year, you'll be identified with a community partner. You'll work with them to achieve their goals, integrating things of enabling occupation, or overcoming inequities and injustices in those organizations, and supporting them in ways that you can be contributing meaningful to the growth of those community partners. So again, really fabulous. So who are we? Just a few quick pictures. You see me there already. Dr. Carrie Han is currently our graduate program chair. So there's the two of us. And then we have our OT faculty. Here are some faces some of you may know. I'm not going to give you all of their names, but we have a very robust, broad faculty who bring all kinds of experiences from clinical and research areas that are growing and becoming, more and more valued as we go along. So we have a great team with us, and we look forward to having you be part of the school. And then we, just as a point of knowledge, we have 2 programs. So we have the Master's of Science in Occupational Therapy. That's a 2-year program. It's a graduate program, and that prepares you for entry-level occupational therapy. We also have a research-based, it's called a combined MSc PhD program. So this, well, this is this one down here. There's a combined program in occupational science, a PhD, MSc, OT. And then we have a research-based Master's of Science program as well, in health and rehabilitation science. So there are these 2 areas. One is, undergraduate program in health and rehabilitation science, and then we have our OT program over here. At this point, I believe I'm going to pass this so you can get more exciting information related to preparing for placements, which is a large part of our program. So I think I'm going to pass this to Erin. And so that means I'm going to shut mine off, correct? No, I'll do this.
I'll do this slide.
There you go.
So one of the exciting things about this program is the fieldwork, and using everything that you sort of learned in class, the academics, and going out to a variety of different settings, whether it's hospitals, private practice, pediatric clinics, mental health care facilities. There's lots of opportunities for you to really go out in the community, work with patients, work with clinicians. But one of the things that you need to do in order to be able to go out to do those placements is the pre-placement requirements. So please make sure that if you receive an offer, that you are reviewing the checklist that will be on that offer letter. These are mandatory medical and non-medical requirements. So by signing the offer letter, you are agreeing to complete all of these requirements. Once you've accepted the offer, please start working on these requirements immediately. Some of them have lengthy processing times and have associated costs. So everything will be outlined in the offer letter, but just as a reminder, it really is, even before you start the program in September, over the summer, you need to work on a lot of these pre-placement requirements because they do take some time. And then finally, just a reminder that please do not reach out to any of the sites or universities about fieldwork placements. Everything is coordinated and organized within our program here. So we have our own process for recruiting sites, for allocating students to placements, and you'll learn all about that during orientation, but please do not reach out to any sites before you learn about things in the orientation. And the last point here is just if you have any questions, we have a website here that you can go to check out. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us.
Thank you, Erin. Jessica, I think that is going to move us into the question period.